Welcome to Experience Dormakaba, an opportunity to hear directly from those who are either presenting or benefiting from the advanced solutions that Dormakaba has to offer. On today's episode, we'll be talking with Brad Sucher, a project architect for Gresham Smith, about designing for exit lanes. Thanks for tuning in. Brad, thank you for joining us today. First of all, just tell us a little bit about yourself, Gresham Smith, and your firm's relationship with Dormakaba.
Yeah, and thank you for giving us this opportunity. Definitely excited to be here today. I'm a senior architect with Gresham Smith and have worked with Dormakaba on multiple ELB-C installations. And us at Gresham have been working with Dormakaba for the past several years. We have implemented solutions at airports of varying scale, from regional airports to more actual large-scale hub airports. For instance, we have installations together at Charlottesville. We have multiple installations in Fort Lauderdale, and we also have planned installations going out to locations like Charlotte.
Okay, you've collaborated quite a bit on exit lane breach control for airports. What are some of the reasons why your clients are making exit lane breach control part of their renovation plans?
So our clients are really looking to us at Gresham Smith to come up with unique solutions tailored to their specific situations. So this topic really came to the forefront a few years ago with TSA signaling they would no longer staff exit lanes. And yeah, there's always ever-changing regulations, and this item is still shaking out a little bit. But however, design challenges still exist when we disassociate an exit lane from a security checkpoint. And this now becomes something that the airport has to take on. So speaking about exit lanes, breach control technology in general, this is something most airports across the country are dealing with. And again, this is not unique to a different type of airport or a different scale of airport. It is varying in scale. And one of the first things that we obviously have to look at is really just that cost benefit with it. How does this become something that the airport can use and utilize? And that is something that Dormakaba has really worked hard on and starting to provide a lot of numbers and values out there with the return on investment that you can start to see and how possibly quickly you could see that. And then us as designers are looking at that passenger flow experience. We're looking at that cost. We're looking how the passengers are interacting with these types of units. Fort Lauderdale is a great example of how we look to provide dedicated exit lanes from each of their specific concourses, used intuitive wayfinding or natural passenger flow to help to guide you. Charlottesville is another one we mentioned a moment ago as well too, and they were just providing a replacement for their specific exit lane and ended up being a single lane solution.
Okay, now, as an architect, you understand more than anyone the importance of looking at the entire space and how even one change can impact it. Now, when an airport is considering exit lane breach control, what are some of the most common design challenges and how do you address them?
I think this is a great question, and this is something that we hit on a second ago, or maybe I just kind of talked a little bit about it a second ago. But almost all the solutions that we have been a part of with Gresham Smith are really a retrofit solution. You're not always installing a clean, crisp unit into a greenfield airport where you have all the space in the world to be able to design and plan for it. We always have to really look at how we tailor this to specific sites and specific solutions. So again, there's a lot of value in talking about the different scales and size of airports for how this really relates to anyone and everyone. So, for example, the Charlottesville project, I think I mentioned a moment ago, it was a single lane that was replaced adjacent to their checkpoint. where Fort Lauderdale has varying solutions for each one of their terminals, several of them installed, several of them planned, and several under construction right now, where other installations are planned installations, like for someone like Charlotte in particular, where they're a large campus, they're a large building where we have multiple exits through a single building that all have to be designed and looked at. Talked a little bit about design here, but there's really a second side to this that really has to be taken into account, and that is the sequencing and the operation side. So being able to bring all of the different stakeholders to the table, with that being the airport staff, with that being maintenance and operation for how something like this would even get cleaned, to being able to be operated and how an alarm would be able to be reset locally or at the AOCC, having to work with the authorities having jurisdiction. With this being a new piece of technology, how is something like this going to be viewed and being allowed to be implemented into these situations? So we as designers or architects are really the ones helping them through all these varying challenges and needs.
Let's say that I'm an airline passenger who's been coming to the same airport for years, and then all of a sudden there are all of these changes, or I'm a visitor from out of town who is completely unfamiliar with the airport. How do you help me? How do you add security enhancements without impacting the passenger experience?
So adding security measures and that you mentioned, or the changing in security enhancements, is something we deal with every day at an airport, and really passengers deal with all the time, sometimes not even knowing. So for us, the solution is really focusing in on those different passenger types. And you can look at it and break it down into really an experienced versus a non-experienced traveler. The experienced traveler being someone who probably travels for business once a week or maybe every other week. They're really more accustomed to changes, where they go to different airports, again, of varying sizes and scales, and can see how the operations work. But they naturally have an idea for how something like this is to happen. And then you have that whole non-experienced traveler group. And that is someone we can say is really a vacation traveler, or someone who only travels once a year, or maybe they are traveling once every few years. So they need a little more help in being able to be able to use and get through some of these units. So again, I think Fort Lauderdale is a great example of this. Again, they are a predominant, or I should say a large vacation traveler is the passenger type who uses that airport, with a lot of the cruise ship passengers that go in and out through there. So we had to look at implementing these solutions coming out of concourses. So having separate exit lanes that are disassociated from the checkpoint, and how we make this as seamless as possible, where you are not really going to necessarily notice that something's changed, but you're able to see where you're going. You'll be able to see where you have to go next. It's something that's not located around a corner. It's within the natural passenger flow or the direction. It's really in that path of travel that really emphasizes, or is emphasized by, that intuitive wayfinding with the clues that we design into the airport to help get you through some of these units and through the exiting of the airport.
So how does Gresham Smith, Dormakaba, and the airport work together to ensure that exit lane breach control is a success?
So Gresham Smith and Dormakaba have been a part of several ELBC installations, or exit lane breach control installations, together. And here at Gresham, we really focus on taking our clients' challenges and solving them with the best solution possible. And now, this really does mean focusing on several aspects that we have previously discussed. It's looking at those different passenger types. It's looking at the different circulation routes. But more importantly, it's also bringing all of those stakeholders together to ensure the solution is tailored to their specific needs. And that's where Dormakaba, or someone like Dormakaba, comes into play, and bringing the specific expertise of an ELBC and how this gets implemented into an airport to make sure all users and really end users at the end of the day are happy and we all have a successful product.
Brett, I really appreciate your insight. Thank you for joining us today.
Yes, absolutely. I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Experience Dormakaba. To learn more about the solutions we discussed today, please visit dormakaba.us.